Hello, and welcome to the Thursday edition of the RotoWire Fantasy Basketball Podcast, sponsored by Sling. I'm your host, Kirien Sprecher, and that's Ryan Ward. If you guys have any fantasy-related questions, leave them in the chat, and we'll answer them after the show. And as always, if you like this content, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so we can keep this going all season. I already see there's a lot of questions in the chat, so hopefully we can get through our overreactions to last night's games and then help answer some of those questions. Like I said, Ryan, busy slate last night, 10 games, 20 teams, some major injuries. Let's just start there. Trae Young went down. Mohamed Gay looked like he fell on the point guard's leg. Young tried to stay in the game for a little bit, but was quickly ruled out for the rest of the way. Quinn Snyder said not an ACL injury, but Young is getting an MRI today. Just considered a knee sprain for now. I'm treating Young as doubtful for Friday and moving forward until we get more information. That did not look good.
No.
Tough situation for the Hawks. Are you expecting, positive news from this MRI? And if not, yeah. Okay, so
not at all.
Who do you think is going to step up in Young's absence?
Well, it could be Daniels. You could get more time there, but I kind of feel for the Hawks, man. Like, they came into this season thinking that they might be a title contender, or at least, like a strong heavyweight in the East, and just doesn't seem like it's gone right for them at all. Now, this is a setback and a half. Like, I think I was talking to the guys on the wire yesterday, and we were reacting to it in real time. And we're like, oh no, like, what does this do for the team moving forward, right? And I'm like, if he is out for the season, I think he's done in Atlanta.
Yeah,
right. Like, that could be it, which is unfortunate, but it's the way it's going for them. That's a bummer. And then the whole Porzingis illness thing lingering around. It's just a bummer for them.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about Young not being around anymore if he doesn't play this season. They're just trying to look up his contract right now. He has a team option for $50 million next year. So yeah, if he's out for this entire season, I highly doubt the Hawks are going to be willing to give him $50 million. I feel like they probably were leaning towards not giving him that anyways, unless the Hawks went on became a contender in the East, like you were talking about. I thought they could do that. And you mentioned Porzingis. Ricochet also has been dealing with an ankle injury to start the season.
That's
and hasn't looked great either.
Good at all. Yeah.
You mentioned Dyson Daniels. I'll also say Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Luke Kennard.
That's a big one.
Yeah. They had really good games off the bench last night. They'll probably continue moving forward. If Young is out, I would assume Alexander Walker would start, but Kennard would get a lot of minutes because they're going to need offense. If you start Nickeil Alexander Walker and Dyson Daniels in the backcourt, that's a lot of defense. You're going to need some shooting there,
and you're not getting anything from Ricochet. That's they're going to lean heavily on Jalen Johnson. And I don't know what do you get from Porzingis now too. It's weird. Like, there was so much optimism. Now I look at it, I'm like looking at the depth chart right now. I'm just like, what are they going to do? They might have to make a trade.
That's what happens when you lose your point guard. Obviously, like, I feel like there's not many teams that can withstand that. But yeah, I feel like we don't know what's going to happen with the Young injury. Maybe there's positive news, but certainly did not look good on that end. The other big injury last night, Ryan, Anthony Davis suffers an apparent leg injury against the Pacers. It looked like it came after the jumper, but maybe he tweaked it earlier in the game. Didn't land on anyone on that jumper. Non-contact injuries are obviously like the scariest.
Worst. Yeah.
He was initially listed as questionable to return, right? And it was just soreness. That's what the team reported, but ultimately got ruled out. Derek Lively was also out for this game. Daniel Gafford was out for this game. So we had
all their size gone. Yeah.
Dwight Powell resurgence.
Didn't he get like MVP chance or something? Something crazy.
Incredible. I can't believe Dwight Powell is still around. What do you make of Dallas's front court right now? Do you think that's going to be a long-term injury for AD or?
What? I mean, I've got tons of experience with AD injuries, right? And it could be anything from he comes back the next game to out for months. It's just, you never know with AD. And I feel for AD. I always have. Like, he's so damn talented. He just gets hurt in these freak ways. It's like, when I saw that it come across the wire, I was like, again, really? Like I was just like, dude, I and it's not like he's overexerting himself or doing anything like silly on the court. It's just kind of it happens with some of these big guys. They just their body just doesn't hold up for very long. But I mean, that's another team. I think Atlanta and Dallas are kind of in the same boat, right? Like they came into the season with all this optimism, like, oh god, they're going to be good, and they have the identical record of 2-3 right now.
Yeah,
and then Flagg is not looking great either. It's I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised AD's out for a while, just as a precaution, maybe. Maybe he doesn't have to be out that long, but you look at that front court too without him and no Lively, no Gafford. I mean, I don't think Gafford hasn't played a game this season, has he?
No, and Lively's only played like one or two maybe, or two, and he was in foul trouble in one of them.
Yeah, that's not great. It's not a great situation in Dallas.
And like you said, Dallas and Atlanta both had really high expectations coming in, and they kind of had fallen flat, but they did win last night. So even despite these injuries, both teams, Dallas and Atlanta, pulled out wins. Dallas had Brandon Williams came out of nowhere. He was really fun last year, so maybe Brandon Williams can be a streamer. But yeah, a lot of fantasy opportunities with these major injuries in Dallas and Atlanta. I also got to mention Jarris Walker on the Indiana side of this Indiana Dallas game. I said he was rostered in like 1%, 2% of ESPN leagues yesterday, and I said everybody should go pick him up. And he had a pretty solid game for a guy that's only rostered in 2% of leagues. All right, the last piece of news I just want to touch on quick before we get to some overreactions is Bilal Coulibaly is cleared to make his season debut tonight. No offense to Coulibaly, but this is really only major news because Keyshawn George has been one of the most talked about fantasy players this season. Coulibaly was projected to be the starter ahead of George, but with George playing so well, you have Chris Middleton, you have CJ McCollum, you have Alex Sarr locked in as starters. You got Coulibaly, George, and Bud Carrington kind of competing for two starting spots here. I'm assuming Coulibaly's brought along slowly, so I don't want to hit the brakes on the Keyshawn George hype train quite yet. But this definitely throws a wrench in the Keyshawn George situation. Do you think George can keep this up, or are you skeptical with Coulibaly coming back?
I'm skeptical of anything Washington Wizards.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like anything. Yeah. It's an odd team. It looks on paper, they look good, right? Like they look like they should be a really good team. Even like, going through the starting lineup, McCollum, George, Middleton, Sarr, and then even the backups, Whitmore's there. Bagley, I guess there's still a little something, but even though he's hurt. But I don't know. I mean, with the Wizards, it's like you never know what the hell they're doing, right? They don't really make a lot of sense a lot of the time. So you don't know how he's gonna get used, whether it's off the bench, if he pushes, George out of the starting lineup. But I would think, if things are all going great with George, why shake things up?
I totally agree. And even if, George takes a little bit of a hit in fantasy right now, we all are assuming that CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton are not going to be part of this team, come February, come March, right? And so I still think even if George takes a little bit of a hit now, he's going to be a guy you want to roster all season, because when silly season hits, it's going to be the Carringtons, the Coulibalys, the Georges that get a lot of playing time and help win you those fantasy championships. All right, before we get into the overreactions, here's a message from our sponsor, Sling. Tired of paying for live TV you don't watch? With Sling, you can get all the live sports, news, and entertainment you want, only when you want it. Get your hands on a Sling day, week, or weekend pass starting at just $4.99. Get over 30 of your favorite channels for the best price and stop overpaying for full-time live TV plans. Sling has a pass for any occasion. Big game tonight? Grab a day pass for just $4.99. Want a full week of live TV for one low price? Get a 7-day week pass. And for all of those weekend watchers out there, you can enjoy live sports, news, and entertainment from Friday morning to Sunday night with a weekend pass. Only Sling lets you watch when you want, so you only pay for what you watch. Get live TV for the day, week, or weekend. Your choice, all for a great price. Watch live TV on your terms starting at just $4.99. Sling lets you do that. Use the link below in the comments section and tell them that RotoWire sent you. Thank you to Sling for sponsoring the show. Let's get into some overreactions. All right, Ryan, let's just start with your Lakers for this overreaction. You said it at the top of the before we even got onto the show. No LeBron, no Luka, no problem. Austin Reeves to the rescue. Is he the best player on the Lakers right now?
He's the best player on the planet right now. He's insane, man. Honestly, that guy has so much drive and so much determination. I feel like he can do it every night, but which obviously it's not. I don't think that's sustainable at all. But talk about just coming up, big in situations where the team needs him the most. I mean, I couldn't believe that. I mean, even Laravia too. He was great last night as well. And Aiden played pretty well, but he's just kind of the undisputed leader right now. We don't know exactly when Luka's coming back, or LeBron for that matter. I think that JJ had some thoughts on that yesterday, saying like LeBron is still like mid-November or whatever. So if Reeves he could be doing this for a while. This could be a few weeks, every time somebody's like, oh, okay, well, that's over, he's not going to do it again. And he just comes up and does it again. I mean, it's crazy. I think the one thing that gets overshadowed is it's 16 assists last night too. He's literally doing everything on the basketball court. It's pretty cool to see. I mean, I love it, being a Lakers fan and all that, but truly, I mean, what a stud. What a stud.
He has the irrational confidence that people talk about in athletes, where it's just like, it doesn't matter how it's going. He thinks that the ball is going to go in the basket. And when you think that, you are unstoppable. You mentioned DeAndre Ayton. I know you've been critical of DeAndre Ayton in the past, but 2 double-doubles in the last 3 games. He's had a block in all 5 games. It's not, not quite dominating, but it's doing the trick for right now. We also got to mention Dalton Connect. He finally got involved a little bit last night.
15 off the bench. Yeah.
And then Jake LaRavia was obviously the big guy that fantasy players are looking at. Is that sustainable? Obviously, you're talking about Luka and LeBron. We don't know when those guys are going to be back. Marcus Smart is also banged up.
Right.
LaRavia looked really good.
He did. Yeah. I think he only missed 1 shot all night. I think he was 10 for 11, something like that.
So that's probably not sustainable. But
never.
as long as if he's getting double-digit shots, I like him as a fantasy play.
Yeah.
What did you think of the other team? What did you think of the Timberwolves without Ant? Obviously Julius Randle coming back to play in the Lakers again. He had a pretty good game. Jaden McDaniels kind of showing out without Ant. What were your thoughts on the Timberwolves last night?
I kind of feel like they lack like identity at the moment. I think they're not as good as what anybody thought they would be, right? But they have played some pretty good teams to right out the gate, except for the Pacers, who they killed. Well, they didn't kill them; they only won by 4 points. Yeah, they might not be a great team. They might not be, and with Ant,
especially without Ant,
yeah. What is it? It's a back issue, right?
Yeah,
yeah. What's your tricky?
Yeah, out for at least a week. And especially when you are the guy that has to carry the team, it's not like you can just come in and play 20 minutes. My notes from this game were just Naz Reid had a dud for Minnesota. He hasn't been playing very well. And then you have the Bones Highland, Rob Dillingham, Terrence Shannon kind of carousel in the backcourt with Mike Conley's moved back into the starting lineup, but
that's weird too.
Yeah, we kind of thought one of these young guards might come rise to the top, but they're just in a carousel right now. Conley played some defense and got some assists, but that scoring is just not really there. So I still think you can avoid him in fantasy for the most part. But I think the real talking point here on Minnesota's side was Jaden McDaniels, because without Ant, they need an identity. They need an alpha. Rudy's going to play his defense. Julius is going to do his thing, but they need someone to step up, and McDaniels is that guy. And going back to your Lakers, dude, I think I'm fine saying that Austin Reeves is going to finish as a better fantasy player than LeBron James this season. I don't think
I would agree with that.
I don't even know if that's a hot take at this point. That might just be like a lukewarm take, but with the way he's playing,
we have no idea what LeBron's going to look like, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, history tells you he's going to look okay, right? But there's always that, Father Time is undefeated. Maybe this is it. Sciatica's kept him on the sideline for this long. It's a little strange. It's a little odd. It's not expected from him. So, yeah, I mean. Reeves, man.
Reeves. Reeves. That's really all.
Yeah. I still kind of blown away by it.
All right, we're going to talk about the highest scoring game of last night coming up next, but here's a quick message from Dabble. Dabble isn't just another DFS app. It's the ultimate social platform where you can connect with other fantasy sports lovers. Dabble lets you win big. You can win up to 5,000 times your money this basketball season. Starting with Dabble is easy. New users get $25 free when signing up. No deposit necessary. Check out the link in the episode description below to download Dabble. Thank you to Dabble. Now let's get into that highest scoring game of the night, which was surprisingly the Portland Trailblazers versus the Utah Jazz. Are these teams good? I don't know.
Oh no,
TBD. Probably not.
probably not.
Have they been fun to watch to this season? Yes. Both teams are above 500. Keontae George is playing really well as back as the starting point guard with Isaiah Collier out. Lauri Markkanen is doing things that he was doing in Eurobasket this summer. Walker Kessler has been playing pretty well. Their rookie Ace Bailey has not, which kind of sucks. What are your thoughts on the Jazz this early in the season? Are these Keontae George, Walker Kessler, Lauri Markkanen, are these guys to sell high on in fantasy, or do you think that they can give you production for the next couple of months?
I think selling high makes sense, right? I don't. There's no way this is sustainable. These guys aren't a good team, right? I can't convince myself of that. I mean, you never know. They could be one of those teams that just comes out of nowhere because they are talented, right? I mean, Kessler's a great player.
They haven't proven it for a long time, for a sustained time. And
Markkanen's always been a star, kind of like a second tier, third tier star, but like he's formidable, right? And he keeps proving it. I'm sure his averages are pretty ridiculous right now. 34 points per game. Jeez. 7.3 rebounds, 2.8 assists. And he's shooting 50%. That's pretty solid, right? So yeah, I don't know. What is it? Were we 4 games in with these guys? I think 5 for Utah, right?
Yeah, 5, I think.
Yeah. So
3 and 2.
I don't know, man. Oh no, they're 2 and 2, right? And Portland's 3 and 2.
Portland,
yeah. So sell high. That's what I would say. Yeah.
I think Will Hardy is a good coach. I really do. I think he's a really good coach. But like you said, like I don't think this is a good team. I would be selling
just
high.
Not buying it yet. Yeah.
On the Portland side, Drew Holiday, absolutely resurgent season after a down year in Boston. He was going for basically free in a lot of the fantasy drafts that I did, and he's consistently, shooting efficiently, putting up rebounds and assists and defensive production. So I'm pretty intrigued by Drew Holiday this season. And then, the rest of Portland's team has kind of been pretty similar to what they were last year. Avida doing his thing. But Drew Holiday is kind of like the big surprise in Portland for me. We also had a handful of blowouts last night. Houston over Toronto. That's to be expected. Toronto can't play any defense right now, and they didn't have Pirtle. Started Colin Murray-Boyles, the rookie, at center against Sengun. That was just never going to work out. Detroit over Orlando. Orlando has lost 4 straight since winning on opening night. Are you worried about Orlando? Are you pumping the brakes? That's kind of another team. Orlando and Atlanta were kind of my 2 dark horse teams in the Eastern Conference this year that I thought could finish at the top of the standings, and they've had a rough start so far. Are you jumping ship on the Orlando boat?
It's like, how many opportunities do you need to be a great team, right? Like you have a wide open East, and they still can't do it. It's just it's not a great look, And they added Bane, right? Yeah. And still can't get it done. Yeah. So this is panic button time, I would say. Like, I mean, give it another week or 2, but still not a good sign.
Absolutely. And they're in the East, so you win a couple of games and you're back at 500. All of a sudden, you're 6 seed or 5 seed, right? But right. Yeah, it hasn't looked good so far. Boston over Cleveland last night. Boston has won a couple of games in a row now after a slow start to the season. Cleveland was, at full strength minus Darius Garland, who hasn't played yet this season. Is this kind of just like as simple for the Cavaliers as when we get Garland back, we're going to be fine? Or are you a little worried about how they looked on national TV against for all intents and purposes, an inferior Boston Celtics team without Jason Tatum?
I think you're right. I think once Garland gets back, I think this team is just going to fire on all cylinders. You could just tell there's a big difference, right? Without him on the floor. It's basically Mitchell trying to do everything, right? And then Evan Mobley tried to do everything on the defensive end, and it's just not working the way they thought. I mean, then they're not getting much out of the other guys. I mean, all starters crack double digits, but at the same time, like Mitchell if Mitchell doesn't score 30 points, 35, they're screwed.
Yes.
Like they don't have a chance. So and he had 15 last night. That's so uncharacteristic of him. So I would just say once Garland gets back, you're really going to know what this team is. And then Boston, it's been a lot of Jaylen Brown though, right? Like he's just kind of balling out lately, but
yeah. Sam Hauser caught fire last night.
7 for 13 from 3, huh? Jeez.
Why not? Played some good defense, but yeah, I think Boston, they're going to be a scrappy team. Like I said, inferior team. They still have Derek White. They still have Jaylen Brown.
And they're well coached.
Cleveland is supposed to be the top of the Eastern Conference, right there with the Knicks. And that this was just an embarrassing showing for Cleveland last night. The other blowout was Denver over the New Orleans Pelicans. DeAndre Jordan started that game. So that's basically all you need to know about how that game went for New Orleans. Jokic didn't even really need to do much, and they still handled that one easily.
We all did a double take last night when the starters came out. We're like, what?
Is this a tweet from 2012 or what's going on here?
Yeah. But he played 12 minutes too, so he technically wasn't really a starter, right?
No,
so.
yeah, no. The last two games were the Bulls stay undefeated. Matas Buzelis, baby, my guy. Kevin Huerter caught fire from deep. On the Kings side, like, is Westbrook like going to start 60 games for the Kings in 2025? Is that a real thing that's going to happen, Ryan? It seems that way.
I wouldn't be surprised. God, he's bad though.
It's crazy.
He's so painful to watch.
He's not a winning player at this stage of his career.
I don't think he has been for like 5 years, to be honest.
But I always got to preface any Westbrook talk with, if you're an NBA fan, he's giving you some incredible moments to call back on in his career, right? Like he's done some incredible stuff in the NBA, but as of right now, he should not be starting on a team that isn't ravaged by injuries. The last game we'll talk about, I think we talked about every game last night, is the Grizzlies eke out a win over the Suns. Mark Williams is finally starting again for the Suns over Oso Adigaharo. You also have Dylan Brooks and Jalen Green as day-to-day, so maybe the Suns are going to be at full strength. Are you at all curious about what the Suns could do when they're at full strength, or do you think it's not even going to matter much?
No, I think they're a dumpster fire.
Yeah, I totally agree. I've really enjoyed Colin Gillespie and Royce O'Neal, watching them off the bench with Brooks and Jalen Green out. I think they've had some fun performances. But yeah, this team isn't going to win a lot of games this year. And on the Grizzlies,
Williams actually did better than I expected. 20 and 12 and 4 steals.
Yeah,
not bad.
I think there's going to be some fantasy production to be had out of Phoenix, but they're not going to win very many games.
No, 1 and 4. No.
Yeah. On the Grizzlies side, my guy Santi Aldama finally had a good game, so I just had to mention that. Pretty par for the course for the rest of the Grizzlies there. But important to get that win against an inferior team on the road. John Morant had 28, 8 and 7. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope hit a couple threes. Jaren Jackson did his thing. Cedric Coward looks.
That's what I was just about to say.
Yeah,
I'm looking at his stats right now.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on him? Are you intrigued by him? You think he can be a consistent rotation? I mean, 28 minutes for a rookie.
Means they like him.
Yeah.
Pope played 19.
Yeah.
Put it that way. Yeah. Right. So I was intrigued by him going into the season. I thought he was interesting.
Yeah.
So looking at this now, 28 minutes, he shot 50%, 14 points. He could be a guy, right? He could be like one of the better 6 men in the league. So keep an eye on him, right?
Double digits in every game so far. He had 9. The only game he didn't get double digits, he had 9. Defense production's been pretty solid. I think he's a very interesting fantasy player to watch this season. Mm-hmm. All right, before we answer some of these questions in the chat, appreciate you guys flood in the chat with questions. Here's a message from Prosper Trading. Every weekend, millions bet on sports hoping to beat the odds. But here's the truth. The house always wins. With trading, you're not betting, you're building. At Prosper Trading Academy, we give you the tools, the education, and the live guidance to actually create an edge. You can control your risk, compound your wins, and trade alongside real pros every single day. Stop gambling on games you can't control and start trading the markets you can. Visit prospertrading.com/roto today and take your shot at real financial growth. All right. Thank you to Prosper Trading. We had a bunch of questions early this morning, even before the show started. So let's hit those quick. Is Jakob Poeltl a drop? I need help at center, and he's been terrible. Kalkbrenner, Keita, or Jakob Poeltl. If you were listening to the show last night, you know I'm very high on Kalkbrenner. I like Keita too. I don't think you can drop Poeltl so far. This back injury, if there's an IR spot, hopefully you can put him on IR soon. I think once he works out this back injury, Poeltl has a lot higher upside than Kalkbrenner or Keita. But, if this is a really shallow league and you don't think Poeltl is going to be snatched up right away and you need points right now, you can probably go with Kalkbrenner. Are you worried at all about Poeltl's slow start to the season, Ryan?
A little bit, but not. I mean, you can't give up on him this early, right? I think he's too good.
Yeah, he's a much better player and has proven that than time and time again than Kalkbrenner and Keita. So I don't think you can give up too early, Dan. P-Dub. Good afternoon, guys. Coward and Kamara just dropped in my league. Thoughts on dropping Grimes for one of them? That's Tumani. I have way ahead of Cedric at this point. Grimes, I think Grimes is really good, but that backcourt is just, with VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey leading the way. I just don't know if Grimes can consistently score 20 plus points. I think I'm taking Tumani Kamara here. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. I don't know how deeper, what points league, category league, but I think Tumani Kamara just has the highest upside because he's elite defensively and he's going to be playing the most minutes out of those three guys. What do you guys make of the Poole benching? This was very, very interesting. I know we mentioned DeAndre Jordan started this game over Yves Missy, but Jeremiah Fears also started over Jordan Poole. Giving the rookie a start that early is definitely concerning. I don't think you would give a rookie that start if you didn't think you were going to be doing that long term. Poole has obviously shown that he can play off the bench. But yeah, I would be pumping the brakes on Poole after that move. But we'll see what happens with Fears.
One of the guys last night on the wire when that came out, they said, "Well, Pelicans are already tanking." I was like, that's a weird move, man.
Absolutely. Fears had a really good game too. So stuff. The world of Poole is not looking up right now. I would try to get off of that as soon as I can. Anthony. We appreciate you too, Anthony. I know you're a loyal watcher. I got offered Derek White for Mutasbu Zealous. Thoughts on accepting this trade? Only this season could offer. Yeah, this is very interesting.
That is interesting.
I love Mutasbu Zealous. I've been saying Mutasbu Zealous, like how high up would we have to go? I said Sengun. If someone offered me Sengun, I would have to do it. But after
that's a no-brainer.
Anything less than that, I don't know. And I think Derek White is just a little bit farther down my rankings than Sengun. This is very interesting. I think if you think Boston can make the playoffs this year as a 6, 7, 8 seeder or make the play-in tournament, I think you just roll with Derek White, because if that's the case, Derek White's going to play a full season and he's going to have a lot of minutes. I know there's some efficiency concerns, but he's going to be all right. If you think the Celtics are not going to make the playoffs, you just ride with Matas because he has the higher upside. Is that fair, Ryan?
Yeah, I think I would stick with White though. I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they're gritty enough. Like I said, they're well coached. Jaylen Brown's playing at a high level. I would stick with that. I would stick with him because it might be a little too soon for the Bulls young guy, right? So go with the smart play. That's the smart play is Boston.
Yeah, I would agree with that. All right. Alan says 9 cat 12 team drop Reed Shepherd for Bilal Coulibaly. Is this okay for rest of the season? That's tough. Like I said, Keyshawn George has been playing so well. I really like Coulibaly. I still think the Wizards want him to be a really good player. Coulibaly has, played a ton of great defense. It's just a matter of, will his offense come around? The Reed Shepherd thing, it seems like they're just not ready to give him the reins.
They're looking for a trade. I guarantee it.
Yeah. So I think I'm going Coulibaly on this one, even if his upside is a little lower than Shepherd.
Did you just see the news that came out?
No.
Sam Presti announced today that Nikola Topic, that's how you say his name, right? Topic, is dealing with testicular cancer.
Yeah. I thought he had that.
Is that known? Was that known?
He had surgery and was supposed to miss like a month, but I don't know if they said that it was cancer. I think it might have just been he had testicular surgery, but cancer is absolutely brutal.
That's rough. Yeah. They say they're extremely positive about his long-term outlook, but he's begun chemo already. So
that's crazy.
That's terrible. I mean, how old? What is he? He's got to be early 20s, right?
Yeah.
He's still a young guy.
Yeah. August 10th, 2005, he was born, dude. He's 20 years old. That's insane.
That's a bummer, dude.
That's brutal. All right, let's get a couple more rapid fire questions here. Move on from Ace Bailey, Taylor Hendricks, and Ryan Dunn in a 14-team Roto League. Yeah, I think you're very close to letting all three of those guys go in a 14-team league. It's just a matter of who's available, right? I think Bailey still has really high upside, but Hendricks and Dunn kind of had upside, but not major upside. And, Phoenix is getting healthier again, so Dunn maybe back into a bench role here. But I would still rate those guys in that order: Ace Bailey, Taylor Hendricks, Ryan Dunn.
Yeah, I wouldn't give up on Bailey just yet. I think
James also says, any update on Brandon Miller? Should I start panicking? Yeah, James, anytime there's a second opinion, third opinion, it's time to start panicking. I'm in the same boat with you, James. Brandon Miller and Benedict Mathurin have been absolutely brutal to my injuries to those two have been brutal for my fantasy teams this season. Anthony says another one. I just traded Cam Johnson for Brandon Miller as well. Thought I should act now on the panic. Yeah, I said panic. I said panic, but like this is a no-brainer in my opinion. Cam Johnson's a fine player, but he does not have nearly as high of upside as Brandon Miller.
No. But I think Brandon Miller could be one of those injury-prone guys.
Yes.
Right? He's great when he's healthy, but he's just rarely healthy.
This is definitely like a league-winning move, right? Like you make this move and you're like, if it doesn't work out, I'm, probably not going to make the playoffs. But if it works out, I could win. I could win the whole darn thing, which, it's fantasy and gambling for a reason.
And it looks like we were just talking about the Pelicans and that weird move. The Pelicans are holding serious internal discussions about head coach Willie Green's future. Jesus.
We're 1 week into the season, folks.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember there was reports like going into the season that Willie Green was really high on the team and everybody was on the same page.
Yeah.
Okay. Classic. Right. For 4 games in or 5 games in. Jeez.
All right. All right. One more question before we get out of here. I like this one because we talked about it a little bit. Miles Turner for Matas Buzelis. No. I'm taking Buzelis on this side all day long, twice on Sunday. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah. Yeah, right. For sure.
And then this one was Poole for Castle and Trae Johnson. Definitely doing Castle and Trae Johnson on that side. Just wanted to throw that out there before we.
The Spurs are killing it, man. I mean, they could be that team that has come out of no. I mean, Wemby, just absolutely ridiculous, right? But it seems like it's contagious, right?
Yeah,
so that team is really, really something to watch. They're my league pass team for sure.
I like it. All right, thanks everybody for the questions. Sorry we couldn't get to all of them. Throw them in the YouTube comment section. We'll try to answer them later today or tomorrow. Good luck with all your fantasy teams, and thanks to Sling for sponsoring the Thursday edition of the RotoWire Basketball Podcast.
Whoa. Not sure what happened there. Bye, everybody.